Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. In today's video, I'll be using Honeybee Stamps Vintage Lures, their Hooked On You stamps and coordinating honeycut dies. I'll also be using their Fishnet Stencil and Sweet Stacks ovals. I'll start off by using the Fishnet Stencil. I have a piece of white shimmer cardstock in a mini stencil mat. The ink color I'm using is by Catherine Pooler. This is Suede Shoes. And I'm adding ink just to the very outside edge since I will be covering up the center of this panel. I used a very light amount of ink, and I find when I do stenciling or ink blending on shimmer paper, you do get a lighter color. But I could easily make it darker by adding more ink. I'll layer this panel on some blue cardstock, put ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base. This is an American Standard A2 size card, 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. Using one of the Sweet Stack oval dies, I cut out a large oval from some craft cardstock. And using two of the oval dies, I cut out a fun wood grain oval frame from Honeybee Stamps Grain and Grunge paper collection. I'll put glue on the back and adhere the wood frame onto the craft oval. Then I'll put more glue on the back and adhere the oval onto the front of the card. I'll be covering up the area where I didn't stencil. I'll set the card aside and start assembling the vintage lures. Since it's Independence Day here in the US, or almost Independence Day, depending on when I post this video, I thought it would be fun to make some patriotic lures. I cut out all of the pieces from red, white, and blue cardstock, and also silver mirror cardstock for the hooks and the little ends of the lures. I've been seeing so many fun cards from the Honeybee Stamps design team using the vintage lures. I finally caved and decided to get them for myself. I know it's been one of the most popular items from Honeybee Stamps Adventure Awaits release, along with the Hooked On You stamps and coordinating dies. It sold out fairly quickly after they released it, but it has been restocked. Along with the 3 fish lures, there's also a little feather lure and a bobber. So there's lots of fun vintage lure variety on this set. The assembly is very simple. Most of the lures only have a few layers, plus the hooks and the eyes. And if you're not sure which piece goes with which, Honeybee Stamps does have a layering guide on their website. For the largest fish lure, I cut out the background from white cardstock, but I still wanted to be able to feature red, white, and blue, so I cut out another background piece from red cardstock, trimmed off just the bottom portion, then glued it onto that white background. Then when I add the blue piece on top, it covers up the very edge of that red piece. I am using a pair of reverse tweezers to hold some of the tiny pieces, and also an embellishment wand for the teeny tiny pieces. Once I have all 3 of the lures assembled, I'll flip them over and add some thin foam dimension on the back side. I'm using the black foam strips from Honeybee Stamps. I'll cut some smaller pieces to fill in some of the areas. Then I'll remove the release paper and add all 3 of the lures onto the oval. I'm putting the largest fish lure in the center, the smaller one on top, and the long, skinny one on the bottom. I love how the red, white, and blue colors really pop against the craft background. For a sentiment, I've already stamped and cut it out. This is wishing you a day full of sunshine. Using the outline die, I cut out a second piece from some blue cardstock. I'll glue those 2 together, creating a blue drop shadow underneath the sentiment. Then I'll add some foam dimension on the back side, remove the release paper, and adhere the sentiment in the lower right-hand corner. I'm using more of Honeybee Stamps thin black foam strips. It's nice that you can easily trim them in half. The ink color I use for the sentiment is the same one I use for the stencil, Suede Shoes by Catherine Pooler. For embellishments, I'm using the Pacific Northwest Pearl stickers. It's beautiful blue color. I'll put 3 in the upper left-hand corner and 2 in the lower right-hand corner. They do have adhesive on the back, but I am adding a little drop of glue just to make sure they stay in place, especially the pearls that are on the shimmer cardstock. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2 using this design. I love how this card turned out. I've always been a fan of using Patriotic colors. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links provided in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.